Before I fully start, we did not hit the goal last time, so technically we won't be able to. Well, I won't be able to show off that, you know, something early for the series, or something for the series early. What I can do is what I can do, on the other hand, is I can still type out the series. So yeah, yeah, it's not all that bad, but it's not all that good either. As you can see, I now have my own stream starting soon screen, in which I put together myself. It's for the series Collisions. As you can see, Centennial City is in the background. Rivets, the robot, the scientist robot, is looking in the distance like, what the heck does that say? What's that in the sky? Stream starting soon. The clouds in the back of the night. Anyway, let's do this. Alright. I will be typing right in here. There we go. Yes. Okay. Alright. Let's begin. Just need a quick little drink of my soda first, then we can get started. There we go. As you guys can see, I have the live chat down to the right. It's my right, right to my right. I forget which one's the right on the actual live. Either way, you can see one of my creatures from the Misfits at Sea series, known as the Gulp Mouth, is like literally about to, well, it's literally about to eat the live chat. You guys better watch out. Yeah, big creatures, those are, in the series. They actually breathe hail, or not breathe hail, but they can not really spit. It's almost like a dragon with fire, except it's like ice shards, and if they hit you just right, like just skid off you or hit you, start freezing up. They can also do the opposite. They can breathe fire as well. They can quite literally just fire out of their mouths like a dragon. And yes, as you can see by the wings, they can fly. Sorry for the traffic in the background. I have to have my window open because it gets hot in here. Anyway, so they have wings, so they can, for a fact, fly. They can also swim with their, what's it called, fins? Yeah, it's fins, and their little tail that they have, that the little creatures have, or the big creatures have. They can get quite huge, um, and they mostly, stay in the jungles, tropical jungles type areas. But so yeah, they're almost like a mosasaur mixed with a T-Rex in a way, with how they're land and sea. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. Yeah, so, I thought that was quite interesting to be honest. You know what I mean? So, yeah. We can go to Misfits at Sea. Just give me one moment. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I just need to take another small sip of my soda. Okay. And if anyone is wondering, yes, the background is part of my profile picture. I really like how I put all this in the void with me. So, yeah. Got a dog right here. Well, I got my dog right here. Come here. Come on. Come on. Up. Up. Come on. Come on. Up. Enjoy yourself. There you go. Got my dog right here with me. It's okay. Love her. She's very nice. Very loyal. Very quiet when I'm screaming, but whenever she's out of the room, she's not as quiet. But nonetheless, she's a good girl. Good girl. Anyway, here we go. So far, for collisions, Misfits at Sea. We have the prologue done. We have chapter 1 done, A Sword in the Road. We have 2 basically done, It's a Fallen Throne. Yeah, we have 2, or 3, it's 3? No, 2 done, A Fallen Throne. And now we are on chapter 3, Running Amok. So, yeah, this will be interesting. Yeah. That felt kind of good. I'm just glad that, I got everything set up. It took forever to do, and it was not a tedious process, but nonetheless, I'm glad I got it done. It's very nice. I hope that my audience will like it. Anyway, so why aren't you telling us what happened back at the docks? Whittigan said, steering the ship away from the bank of the river. Clifton hesitated for a minute, then he spoke. I didn't want to tell you this, but I don't want to tell you this before. Yes. I didn't want to tell you this before, but since you are so desperate to find out, I might as well. What? Alright, there we go. And you'll notice the king is more like a bold, leader. Well, more so uh, bold, not as egocentric. So you'll see that the king is very bold. He's outgoing. He's like a strong-hearted person, whereas Clifton here, he's very strong-hearted as well, but he's not as bold and outgoing. He's more like an ambivert than an introvert or extrovert of back then. So yeah, quite interesting. Here we go. As well. There we go. Oh, I forgot to tab it. That's why. Tab that. There we go. Much better. Hmm. Clean this up by pressing enter and then backspace. There we go. Oh no. I don't want that. Okay, there we go. Hate when that happens. It tries to give me the weather and stuff when that happens. I think it happened. Didn't show it. That's good. Alright, anyway. And checking. There we go. Breath, not breathe. Breath. Ooh, that's big on new button. And the reason things are bigger is because I had to zoom in, otherwise no one will be able to read the book as I type it. It would look just like, well, if you know the meme, 8-bit, 64-bit, 16-bit, all that, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Give me just a moment, I think my thing. There we go, much better. Yeah, those for just a few seconds. Okay. Anyway, now I can continue. Yeah, if you know the meme, it goes 8-bit, 64-bit, 16. That meme. Yeah, that's basically what it would have looked like. It really just would have looked. I just put this would have just looked out of the ordinary. Anyway, here we go with what he says. Caused towards corruption. There we go. In there we go. Yeah, I think this is going really good. How am I? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so far we have that's one, that's two, that's three, that's four, that's five, and that's six. Start on the next one. There we go. Okay. Keep going. Dang, my cotton mouth is acting up a little. Hello. I don't like when my cotton mouth acts up. It's just strange. The best way for me to describe it is that, um, my, after, like my saliva embeds itself into my mouth, and then sometimes it'll, keep flowing. That's anyway. My mouth, on the other hand, after a while will dry out, and then I have to take a drink and wait a few moments. If it doesn't work, then I keep having to get drink, and eventually I'll have to get water. So yeah, it's just like not really a condition I have, but something I have. I know there's a name for it. I forget what it is. So yeah. Anyway, let's continue, shall we? Yes, we shall. He's shaking his breath. The king is dead. Everyone paused and looked towards Clifton in disbelief. Friend. Um, There we go. Yes, what? What do you need now? I hate when it does that. Alright, it tries to correct me to C instead of K for Clifton. Ah, that's right, I forgot. Right. Oh, king is what? Right. And told him, lower your voice, otherwise you might attract a goat mouth. What the doctors ever said. Ah, here we go. Nose told magical. Why is it? It's not 30th, but. Actually, one got over 30 feet tall, so yeah, I guess. Here's this magical 30. Magical 30 feet tall. 30 feet tall. How do you spell Venus flytrap? Give me just a second. This is why I have this to the side. Right. There we go. Alright, there we go. Okay. 3 feet tall. Venus. Monsters. Okay, here we go. As the night began to fall, Whittigan took Clifton aside for a moment, while he had another crew member steer the boat. The king is what? Whittigan cried. Clifton told him, lower your voice, otherwise you might attract a goat mouth. Whittigan, as shocked as ever, said, you know I don't believe in those tall tales of magical 30 feet tall Venus flytrap looking monsters. It's there we go. But it's true. Whittigan said. Waste. Left and try. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 5, and 6. So now we can this one and another train to my and now just become you something like no. Snapping back. Sun was the last straw. Too much to ask. It's not right. Church and fun in life. That too much to ask. Now they're both arguing, and they're both about to attract something big. Thank you. I think I did, because of the background, I kind of I drew it digitally instead of on paper. And as you can see, they're about to run into a creature that is in the background. Big thing, it is. And yeah, they're both arguing at this point, and we're almost to that part with the creature that I have in my background. If you have any questions about, what's it? If you have any questions about the creature or any of the characters, feel free to ask. It's nothing. It's nothing I can answer. Anyway, all I want is a little adventure and fun in life. Is that too much to ask for? Yeah. This way. This bright crow was as a ever. You are love. Said cinnamon chanted chances are chances are ship my is shock certain my I live so that he so that he so that he by Zerish by Zerish. He is interrupted by Zerish. Zerish. He was interrupted by Zerish. pointed at a he pointed at youth at wait, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Enter. There we go. Okay. The whole crew was in shock. Even Shantaza was wide-eyed. Clifton said that he is the son of the king himself, and that he was interrupted by Zerish, the weapon specialist. What is that? Zerish yelled as he pointed in a goat mouth. His mouth over Zerish's mouth. Where he finish. Start finish. It's precious, and I want you to ignore that, computer. Anyway, Clifton whispered as concerned. So, still here. Stern. Stern. I think stern is the right word. I'm not actually too sure. Give me just a moment. Here we go. Stern. Seriously? Yes, stern is the right word. Because I want him to be serious when he talks about this. Okay. Okay, anyway. The stern tones still hear him. See how it doesn't have eyes. We can keep going with this one. Nice sound. Be as quiet as possible. Get range as possible. As clear as possible when getting after we get to that edge. Okay. There side. In this tense, be reformed and the very last year. Once. Okay, alright. And they are very close to the ocean because I forgot to add a sentence up in here. You'll check. 1, 2, 3, 5. Yes, I forgot right here to add. Dark. as warned, yeah, done. Sure enough, as soon as one of the goat ones began heading towards them, Cliff and saw saw Clifton start ocean not to fall. One side of the boat had reached the ledge, as one of the crew shouted. The same crew member had spotted another goat mouth in the distance. They had to be very close near the ocean to be seen goat mouths appear for more than once. Mind you, the goat mouths mostly stay by not really the shore. They sometimes they stay more towards the open ocean, like just the beach side or cliff sides technically. Well, no, they stay near beach sides, and some of them sometimes, depending on how old the goat mouth is, it'll be more towards the inside, like deeper in the forest. So older or younger goat mouths start out in deep in the forest, and they're still pretty big. Older goat mouths, uh, well, in the middle between youth and adult, that sort of age of a goat mouth would stay closer to the water, whereas full-grown adult goat mouths head back into the forest while staying closer to the shoreline. Technically, they all stay close to the shoreline, but the younger ones stay more closer deep in the forest. And they don't just hunt. I know he says that they hunt by sound, they hunt by the vibrations, kind of like it's basically echolocation. They hunt by echolocation, except they're not the ones making the noise. They wait until something makes a noise, and then they go to hunt that. That, and so it's that. So they hunt those that make those noises, that make enough noise. So they hunt prey that does that as well, uh, as well as hunting by smell. That's why their noses are, like they have a good long enough nose to do that. And Clifton, we'll find that out later on, because as stated by right here, as stated by Whittigan, they're more of a tall tale that kind of like Nessie, the Loch Ness monster, or Bigfoot, or any cryptid technically. So they're kind of like those in a way. If you're wondering what the goat mouth looks like, look below, right above all of this, like all of me of what I'm typing. It's on the screen. The goat mouths. They look like Venus flytraps, but they have wings in their on their back, and they have fins, big huge tail, uh, and 2 feet well, not really feet, but they're webbed feet. Yeah, dinosaur. Yeah, T-Rex in a way. But yeah, they don't just hunt by echolocation, where the sound bounces off of them, or, you know, off of wherever they can hear. But also they hunt by smell. Anyway, Clifton could see in the star of the ocean not too far away. Mm, 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 yelled in That's not how you spell yelled. Yelled. There we go. Okay. I did not mean to press that. What button was that? There it is. Did not mean to press that. It's my bad. It's the number lock. Anyway, yell. Again. Clifton jumped for the ledge. Just barely, barely, barely making it as nearly, just barely making jump. Road and the mouth of rose and crushed the ship with its. It's not rose. Go. No. Go downwards and crush the ship with its tail. Another gardens and stir. Oops. Not stated. Start for the shore. The which wasn't very far from the few who survived. Yeah. Starts out like a sunny day, your average, just sunny, regular day. And then, boom, King's dead. And then later on, just boom, Bolt Mountains, you know? Just another random day in the jungle, you know? Welcome to the jungle, am I right? Anyway, yeah. Which wasn't very far from the few of the crew who survived. Right. So now that should be all that I need at this point. Sorry, give me just a moment. Realign this, there we go. Okay. Okay, now where's my mouse? Okay, there we go. Now I will just scroll down. I have a quicker way of getting up and down. There we no, that's not what I want to do. Zoom out real quick. Go back to the top, and then I can show you guys this. There we go. So yeah, this is collisions and misfits at sea. Basically, what's happened here? Yeah, basically, what's happened here is it starts off with the prologue, just the prologue basically. Then it goes a sword in the road. Says the day was not as bright as usual. There's a bad lightning storm, blah blah this, blah blah that. Because the meeting, we get from the meeting to, to the document that's supposed to bring peace to the entire land. Then we get to page 2, the Fallen Throne, where basically what happens is it's like a boring, average day. I forget to put that. Well, it was unusual for a long day to be this boring in the kingdom of Notioning Springs. Clifton had been making his rounds the day prior and decided to check in on the king that same night. So mind you, he's just, going through the motion. He's uh, he's doing his rounds, checking the ship, making sure it's, ready to be sailed the next day, that sort of thing. And the king, was chatting up a storm, which he doesn't usually do. So then, and he didn't, and Clifton, he didn't think much of it uh, till the next morning, after the guards asked him the same question. Was because the guards ask him, have they, has he seen his father? Has he seen the king? And two guards slightly argue that sort of thing. So it just starts, as a normal day. Then it gets to the suspicion. He ends up escaping the guards at the docks, or no, towards the docks. He ends up losing them, getting to the docks. Then in chapter 3, running amok is where they run amok through the jungle, trying to survive. So yeah, but yeah, the king is dead. This that. It is quite crazy, to be honest. It is quite crazy how how big the goat mouths technically are in the series. In the legend, in the legend of the goat mouth, how tall they are. It's described as a 30-foot tall creature. So mind you, they're not. They can get up to that big. But it's kind of rare that you see one about the size of a nowadays building. Uh, but it's not that uncommon either, because that's like how they are when they get full grown. And if anything, still grow a little more. Hold on. So yeah, it's crazy, but it's not that crazy all at the same time. If anyone has any questions about the creatures like the gulp mouth, later on we'll see boulder golems, uh, or like any of the characters. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. I will answer as best as possible, without spoiling the entire book. If you know what I mean. Anyway, another gulp mouth started with the shoreline. It wasn't very far from the few of the crew that survived. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 5, that's 6, 7, that's 8, more, that's 7. We'll keep it at 5 to 7 rows, which will be like a row with like either a period, any punctuation really, or well like a exclamation point mark, whatever, question mark, or a quote, like one of like a speech line or voice line. Uh, that's where a row will end. Is where where it starts versus where it starts. That's where it will end, and that's what I'm counting. I'm counting 5 to 7 uh, each paragraph. Like this. Like this is one paragraph, whereas this is like a sentence. That's what I'm counting as like the sentences. And it'll be 5 to 7. This is my longest one so far with 7. So yeah, that's what I'm mostly counting. Is so that they're not too long, but they're not too short at the same time. Alright, give me just a moment. I take my dog out. Just give me a moment. Okay, I'm back, and I brought a guest with me. Go and speak now.
Oh, hello, girls, boys, and squirrels.
Yeah,
I said that wrong.
yeah, I'm aware. All right. If you'd like to introduce yourself and your YouTube channel, and where people can follow you, technically, basically.
Hi, I'm Visionary Productions, and I make cartoon go move.
That's correct. That is correct.
I also write book.
Very nice. Very nice. Currently, I am on Collisions Book One. If just to catch you up real quick, so far, what has happened is that the where is here we go. In the prologue, it's about a tale of three brothers, or at least book one is. It's a tale of three brothers. Clifton. Forget the other two names. I still have to insert those. Uh, in fact, I might have to take a break in a moment just to go and leave you with the folks so I can figure out their names. I know I have them on a photo behind me. Anyway, that's the prologue. Then we get to well, the mother died, in fire. Then we get to chapter one, a sword in. Anyway, we get we get to chapter one, a sword in the road. Well, instead of a fork in the road. Um, the day was, not as bright as usual. There's a storm, this and that. At this point, Clifton is a guard, one of the royal guards, who's working his way up to being, king. Because if the king dies, he then fourth becomes king, and so on and
Yeah,
so forth through his brothers. Either way, they talk about the pirates. Um, many pirates that are out there, and him, the king, you know, yeah, the king and one of his sons get into a huge argument, and that's when uh, King Randabog gets, his son out of there, and yeah, Clifton in chapter two, The Fallen Throne. Clifton is doing his rounds. At this point, he's become just a adventurer, explorer. I think it's called a cartographer. I'm not too sure, but they make maps. And so,
yeah. Cartographer sounds correct.
yeah, so he's a adventurer slash cartographer. And at this point, he checks in on the king, because even because he can, he's his son. And so, it's a boring day, and it's not unusual for this to be, this boring, blah blah yada yada. He visits King Randabog, his father, and like the night before, after he does his rounds, checks, makes sure the ship is ready, making sure it's in ship shape, spiffy fashion. And so when he visits, after that, after nighttime, after it becomes day, he then goes to visit his father again. And it's very unusual because the king was chatty the night before, and he never usually is because he's got business to do. And so the guards, because the two sons are the only ones, the two of three sons, are the only ones that have access to the royal quarters. And so, uh, it looks like Clifton had killed the king because the other son had, never been in the quarters, like in a long time. And therefore, when questioned by two guards if he's seen the king, seeing as he's the only other one with access, uh, he ends up, going on the run because the two guards suspect that he killed the king. Then we get to chapter three. After daring escape, Clifton makes it past the dock side onto his boat, onto his first boat of two, and they all escape. Then we get to chapter three, running amok, where Whittigan, his best friend, and Clifton, you know, they get into a big fight after he says the king is dead, and he's trying to, calm him down because of the gulp mouths being, because they're getting closer to the ocean. goat mouths, they stay by the shore in the depths of the jungle, and sometimes, more than likely, out in the ocean. These things, mind you, can breathe fire and shoot icicle shards out their mouth, like breathe icicle shards. If they graze you, then you get like a little bit of frostbite where it grazed you, and if it stabs you, you start to freeze in place. Horrifying stuff. So yeah, they get attacked by a gulp mouth or a few, and they end up losing their ship. Now they're stranded in the jungle, running it and trying to survive. So what do you think of it so far? I think it's
Huh?
coming together really well.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's coming together really well. Yeah, I think it's going really good.
Yeah.
So what are you working on currently?
Uh, guess what, guys? I don't just make cartoons move. I write horrors.
Yes, scarily spigglies.
I can't like I had to do
Really
a
scarelies.
spinning wheel to decide my next one, and it chose Grave Day.
Mhm. What if you make it to where, what is it? Radios, or not radios? What are they called? What are they called? Boom boxes, I think. You could call it boombox of death. That'd be interesting. Almost like say cheese and die, but in a different way. Put your own twist on it, that sort of thing. I think that'd be pretty interesting. You know what say cheese and die is, right? I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it.
I don't know what
It's
it
just a
is.
reference to what it is. Say cheese and die is a Goosebumps book, and a really good one at that. I say I'm a sucker for the classic Goosebumps,
Yes.
and some of them are recent ones too, in a way. Well, in a way. Fun fact: I am drinking tea with a bit of buttery syrup in it. It doesn't taste that bad. It doesn't really taste as bad as you would think. And I know everyone's gonna comment in the live chat. Why aren't you drinking soda? Well, guess what? While I was on that break, I made some tea with some buttery syrup in it. It's
Yes,
interesting. Tea. It's like, tea.
shut up.
Caffeine. Jeez. But yeah, that's what I have so far. I'm pretty sure I'm done. Yes. Why is it doing this again? But yeah, I'm done with chapter 3 at this point. No, 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 I have one more sentence to do, or a few more sentences to do, and then I'm done with chapter 3. Give me a moment while I check how many chapters. Because, my mind's all over the place, I forget.
Yeah.
Here we go. The numbers of chapters in a book can vary greatly, but most novels tend to fall within a range of 20 to 40 chapters. Not too bad, not too bad, and this story is moving along.
Yeah, mine's just short stories, so like blah 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 blah.
Yeah, yours just go by like that. And for those of you who are wondering, yes, a gulp mouth is a cross between a Venus flytrap, a T-Rex, a mosasaur, and a dragon.
Gold mouth.
Yeah, gulp mouth. And yes, dragons existed once in this universe, but gulp mouths overtook them quickly, fairly quickly.
Dogwood dead.
Yeah. Oh, they're dead. Same with the dinosaurs. Goat mouths technically survived because of, being able to survive in water. Because not only the asteroid didn't just kill the Earth with the dinosaurs, but so did the Ice Age directly afterwards. And these things can survive in the Ice Age. How do you think they can? Yeah, because they have like a thick hide. These things like really just took on nature head on. So these things have been around for years. On
Can I like cut it down and
Can you cut what down?
kind of cut the goat mouth down with a chainsaw? Just
Not really. They have a very thick hide. Only the craftsman, the weapon specialist they have on the crew currently, knows how to, make a blade sharp enough to cut through their hide. It's almost like dragon scales. You know how they have that thick hide. Yeah, think of that. Yeah, think of it like that. Chainsaw, you might make a slight cut, and that's about it though. Like a teensy little slight cut. Takes a lot of force to do it though, as well. That's why the more dangerous of the creatures is the boulder golem, which is able to defeat the goat mouths, although not being as far big as or not the adult boulder golems can't grow as big as a full adult goat mouth. But they have been overpopulating the forests, and that's why recently in the series, or at least as recent as the beginning of the series is, goat mouths have more been towards the shoreline and out in the ocean. You'll see them roaming the jungle, but it's very rare to find in the jungle. Hence the reason they became a tall tale. And boulder golems hibernate, hence the reason they are known as a tall tale in this universe too. So yeah, you were saying, or you were gonna say,
I wasn't gonna say anything.
just making sure. Also, boulder golems, they don't really breathe fire, but they have a what's it? They have they're like really strong, and they do have flame-like eyes. It's mostly like what's it called? Like crystal eyes that look. It's not really fire. It's more so crystal eyes that can, you know, light up. Like the front of a vehicle or a prison light, how it follows things. Like think of the car as bright as a car headlight in a way, but able to move like prison lights. And that's how boulder golems can hunt at night. They also can see, like they have night vision in a way. So they're strong. They have night vision, and we'll scratch the light part. They literally just have night vision because they're crystallized. They're very strong and they have crystallized. In fact, I can probably well later on I'll post a picture of the boulder golem uh, in my community tab on my channel, as well as the goat mouth. Because the goat mouth is quite an interesting creature. Not as interesting as the boulder golem. Well, the boulder golem isn't as interesting as the goat mouth because the goat mouth has a past. But I tend to more side with the boulder golems because they're more peaceful creatures. You don't want to come across the goat mouth, trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah, dangerous things in the wild. They also have a razor sharp chain, like you were saying, chainsaw like teeth. Like it literally goes. You know that one fish that has that rounded, chainsaw like mouth. People are saying. These goat mouths, they have it goes around like this, like around the lips in a way, but instead it's teeth, like how our lips are, but with teeth on the inside, and they can retract and like they can retract and move like a chainsaw in a way. These things are like fearsome creatures, and they can get huge. Like your average like say a coffee shop like Starbucks or a your average apartment building, you know. Yeah, think of that. That's about the size of a goat mouth. Well, a youthful or in the middle of youthful and adult goat mouth. Yeah, I think that's really cool as well. It is intriguing. It's interesting. The lore that I made behind these creatures. It really takes you back, into it. Really sounds like you're in the universe when you describe it, or when you take the time to describe it. Yeah. Where was I? Oh yeah, another goat mouth started for the shoreline, which wasn't very far uh, from the few of the crew who survived. To the tree, tree, trees. Now, jungling trees are interesting. They're different from jungle trees. These trees populate like a good number of the shoreline. No, I didn't say jungle. I said jungling. Yeah, these jungling trees. Yeah, they actually can. Let's go. They have these berries that grow off of their vines, and these berries can heal. Like the wounded. It's very. It's not very rare to see these trees, but it's very rare to find one of the berries growing because they take a few, not 100 years, but they do take about like what 20, 40 years to grow. So yeah, the jungling trees. They also attack, so it's not very wise for Whittigan to say go hide and make your way to the jungling trees. So you can tell Whittigan, or not Whittigan. I don't know why I said Whittigan. Um, it's actually Zurij who says this, and he's a weapon specialist, not a nature guide. So don't follow his advice. If you know what I mean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Never take the advice of someone who doesn't know nothing about what he's talking about. He, she, they, whatever is talking about. You know what I mean? Otherwise, you may end up in danger. Or worse. You die from quietly make your way into the tall jungling tree. Is Siri. There we are. Siri. You saw tell. Yeah. So how's your story going so far?
What?
How's your story going so far? You know, the horrifics.
Mm.
Because I'm intrigued to hear about this. So go enlighten us. Tell us what your story. If you want, tell us what your story's about. If not, just give us short description. Wait, that doesn't make sense. Either way, just give us a short description, or just tell us an interesting fact about
I don't know. It's just a gravedigger first day on his job, and he finds himself being haunted by poltergeist and poltergeist controlled zombies. And
it. Ooh.
mm,
Now, do these zombies still have consciousness, or are the poltergeists taking over their consciousness that they once had?
wait, what?
I'll repeat again, once more. So, do the zombies have consciousness? Like, can they still like drag their feet, or are the poltergeists taking over the consciousness the zombies once had?
The poltergeist taking over the consciousness.
Interesting. Okay. Because I know, here's a scientific fact for you. After a body, after someone dies, the body still has a little bit of twitchiness to it. I'm pretty sure it's because of how our bodies, react, how it slowly, decays and stuff like that. Anyway, I do find that interesting because, the poltergeist can still control the bodies of what, it's interesting, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, were you like, what's it called? Were you going off of like that scientific fact, or just going with the flow and creating your own thing? Because I am interested in this. You don't know, huh?
Yeah,
Either one.
I don't know, man. I just write creepy stories.
Very nice. The haunts, haunting stuff.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know. Most of them aren't like just horror. It's like I'm trying to explain it.
Um, what's the word? I know what you're talking about. Not like
What's the word?
So it's not like R.L. Stein style. It's more like Stephen King style, right?
Like eldritch, like beings or something.
Yeah. Ah, so worse than Stephen King type writing, or not worse, but more creeptastic. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, I forgot this word. What is the word for when someone says something and another person says the same thing at the same time? Not simultaneously. I know that's another word for it, but what's that word? Hmm. Ah, in sync. That's what it's called. It was in sync. Sync is the word I'm thinking of. That is not how you spell it, though. Give me a second. I gotta look up this darn thing because it's not even correcting me. Ah, that's why. It has a Y, not an I. I just hate when you're spelling out a word and it's just not the correct word at all whatsoever, and it doesn't even correct you because you spell like one letter wrong. I hate when that happens. All right, real quick, I am going to, uh, just go off and what was it? I'm just gonna go and get those character names while I leave you with the audience. So go ahead and entertain them. I'll be right back. Actually, we'll take a small break here, and well, we'll be right back. Okay. All right then. Okay, I got the names, as well as one the royal family's last name, which I forgot I put on one of. In fact, one of you might recognize one of these as soon as I say the name, because I know I've told you about one of these characters before. Gackles, that's his name. That's one of the son's name. So three brothers, Clifton. Hold on, let me just. There we go. Check that off so I can do this. Here we go. Okay. So it's Gackles and Roshker Wickerson. Wickerson being the royal family's last name. The three brothers, Clifton, Gackles, and Roshker. 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 Clifton. And here's the backstory of Clifton and all them. So ever since then, after the mother died, ever since then, Clifton had been isolated to his perverted job of map making, and down the rank, explore. Well, no, and down the rank, explorer. Well, was Gackles. Like cackles, but his name is Gackles. Gackles had been trying. Grackles, man. Where'd you get that from? Anyway, Gackles had been trying to fill Clifton's previous job as a guard, while not totally being into the guard stuff, being the next heir, or or really anything family oriented. Rosh, well, let me look how to spell that real quick, because I know that I have it right here in this character sheet. Anyway, Roshker, H, R-I-S-H-G. There we go. Okay, here we go. While not totally being into the guard stuff, being the next heir, or really anything family oriented, Rashford had become a misfit at sea, donning pirate attire as well as becoming a mighty warrior of the seas. He had too, he too, had drifted from serving the royal family. Yeah. Now I can put names in since I found them both. As everyone kept arguing, King Randabog had shouted over when "Shut up!" He cleared his throat. Then he continued. I have not, mind you, this is in chapter one, the sword in the road. And the reason it's called the sword in the road is because just like a fork in the road, they've come to like a cross path. Yeah, where they have to decide something, where they have to take action in order to be safe. So I'll start reading this part now that I have the names. The day was not as bright as they usually are. A bad lightning storm had hit the island of Centennial Pacificancy, and the king had to attend a meeting with some of the other kingdom's rulers. As everyone kept arguing, King Randabog had shouted over everyone to "Shut up!" He then cleared his throat. Then he continued. I have not the slightest clue as. I hate when traffic goes off in the background. I'm trying to read here. Anyway, I have not the slightest clue as to how one of the bordering kingdoms has lost its rule. I only know now that pirates have taken over his and his family's land. He paused for a moment. Some gasp reactions were let out. The king hesitated for a moment, whispered to his son to tell the guard, to tell the guard to bring the document in. As the guard brought forth a large document, he started again, but more boldly this time. This is a tragic time we are in. We need to take a heavy course of action. As long as one of my sons or I are alive, then this document will be kept by law. So long as everyone signs said document, peace will be kept between all of your kingdoms as well as mine. His son, okay, his son Gackles, his son Gackles, who then entered after overhearing the conversation, then blurted out, "If you're so powerful to make a document and tell every last king in the world to sign it, then why aren't the pirates gone?" Clifton, who was a guard and representing the king at the time, yelled back, "How dare you yell at your king? You should be ashamed of yourself." He was then cut off by his own brother, who snapped at Clifton, yelling, "My king? He's our father, and I shall treat him as such. Besides, he's never touched any new form of weapon in his whole lifespan. How can we expect him to protect us? He's so outdated." The king then had to have another guard escort his son out of the room before things got worse. While they were arguing, the other kings were deciding what to do, and effectively made the decision to sign the document as long as King Randabog could get his sons under control. After that meeting, Clifton was exiled from being a guard, and as punishment was sent to map out the oceans and rivers around their kingdom. Clifton ended up liking this new job. As time went on, here we go. As time went on, Gackles became a royal guard. Gackles became a royal guard. Just making sure I've got enough space between each. There we go. Okay. Became a royal guard. Then we get to chapter 2, Fallen Throne, in which is where I caught you up from. Now that I have their names, though, I can get that one chapter caught up. And there we go. That is everything caught up, especially with the names. This is what Roscoe Wickinson looks like, by the way, for all those who are out there who are wondering. Well, at least this is his head. That's what he fully looks like, basically. I do find it interesting. Oh, and I forgot I did this. I gave him like this goatee, he's a pirate. He hasn't really been able to shave very well. Not very well, at least. This, on the other hand, what's the guy? Is guy. Yeah, you can see how he's, I don't mind his garbs right now. Those will be explained soon, though. And his weapon. His weapon will be explained as well. I'm just not explaining it right now because I do not want to spoil the rest of the series. So, yeah. What do you think? Who do you think killed him? So far, Clifton is being
I'm
blamed.
not legally allowed to say that.
You're right about that. But who do you think the audience thinks? I'm kidding. Audience, say forth your guesses now. Mind you, there are 3 different sons. One has been absent. One is being blamed. My bad, I think I just flipped everyone off. One is absent, one is being blamed, and the other one is a royal guard. So who do we think killed the king? Now, I won't answer to who killed the king, nor will you, my guest. You will not answer, so help me. uh, but go ahead and put your guesses in the live chat as to who you think has killed the king. Because I'd be interested to hear, your guesses. Another thing is that where is it? Here in chapter 2, we also see that another guard was given access to the king's. Where is it? Here we go. To the king's. You know, he was supposed to stand post at that. Stand guard at that post that night. Right here it is. He said, it says right here, one of the guards looked at the window that was shattered and turned to the other guard to say, I thought you were posted at this position last night. You know? To the king, to guard the king whilst he slept. The guard began to sweat. He said, I need a space right there. He said, I took a drink of water the king offered me and then soon fell asleep. The only others with access were his two sons. The two guards paused for a moment and slowly raised their spears at Clifton. Mind you, this is after we learn that the king is basically dead. Like he's gone. He's no longer alive. He's just laying there. He's just resting. Yeah, he's just resting. But yeah, Clifton, is to blame. Like Clifton is to blame, and Clifton ends up escaping, looking guilty as ever. So basically, I just want to know for anyone who's watching this and everyone who's watching this and will be watching this, put either in the comments down below or in this live chat right now, who do you think killed the king and poisoned the guard? Because as we heard before, the king offered the guard some water that the king, had also got, So the king had some water. He poured some into another glass, gave it to the guard, and technically you could say they both end up getting poisoned because the guard ended up getting poisoned, not poisoned, but almost like it's almost like a liquid form of what's it called? Chloroform. That's what it is. It's almost like a liquid form of chloroform, like a short lasting one. Not that short lasting, you know what I mean. And so, who in the comments down below or in the live chat does everyone watching this think killed the king and poisoned the guard all in one night? I'm just curious to know who you guys think it is. And I'm not answering until this story, like this book is published. And to those who have read it, I will tell. If you haven't read the book after it's published, I'm not spoiling that for you. You gotta find out for yourself. Ain't that right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll keep going till around 8:30 because that'll be like 22 minutes, right? No, 12 minutes. We'll keep going for 12 more minutes and then I'll end the live. And then I'm back on it tomorrow. Y'all know me, I'm back on that grind. Back to the grind.
Gotta stay on the grind.
Yep, back to that midnight grind, you know what I mean? Well, not midnight, but that was a last stream. Last night stream was that midnight grind. Tonight, rather tomorrow, I'll be going back to the grind. But yeah, this
Yeah,
is
I'll probably join you tomorrow. I don't really know what to think. Well, like tonight,
all
a little
right.
too sleepy.
All right then. That's why I'm only going for 11 more minutes. Then we can end this.
All right. Well, see
Actually,
you, chat. I'm just gonna like.
in fact, I will edit.
I'm
I will.
dying.
All right. Actually, for a fact, this is where I will end the live stream.
Rest.
Actually, in fact, this is where I'll end the live. So, yep, our guest has exited, and here I go. everyone. Thank you for joining. I will continue to type out a little bit before, well, rather, um, yeah, before next live stream. And I will catch everyone up who watches the next live stream. I will catch everyone up. Don't worry about it. I'll catch you up. Catch you all up on that. And yeah, that's basically it. Follow me on my animation channel, Animator Void, or yeah, at Animator Void, or you can follow me on this channel, uh, where I live stream my book writing process, um, and where you can find some of my artwork published shortly. Other than that, it might be on my animation channel or TikTok. Nonetheless, I will see you all in the next one. Peace.